So here's the next activity. This is under Unit 3, Conditionals and Control Flow, and the activity is called Pyglatin. So Pyglatin is a language game where you have to move the first letter of the word to the end and add the letters AY. So Python, the word Python, um, you will move the first letter, which is P, to the end, so here, and then you add the letters AY. And this is the translated word. Now you have to write a Pyglatin translator in Python, and this is how the program should work. So first, we're going to ask the user to input a word in English. Make sure that the user entered a valid word. Convert the word from English to Pyglatin and then display or print that translation result. Now, the instruction actually for this part is just to click save and submit. And I was so excited to start doing the activity that I tried to come up with my own code first and just to see um how much I understood on how to make the program work or something. So just to discuss, so this is it. So what I did is I created a variable called the English word, where we are going to assign that variable to the user input. So there's raw underscore input, enter a valid word in English. I added a space here because I originally thought that you need space. If you don't have the space here, then the user input word, when printed on screen, will appear too close and without space with this colon right here. And then to translate English word lower, so everything should be in lowercase, because what I noticed is that for this word Python, P, there we have a capital P in here, but when P was moved to the end, it's already in lowercase. And I still don't know yet how to do the conditionals here and how to make sure that they are entering a valid word. So for this one, I just said assign assign it, rather convert it to a string type. And then I created a variable first letter that will get the first letter of the word from the variable English word. So I assigned it the index with 0. So it will get the first character of that word. And then created another variable Pyglatin, which is equals to the English word, the first letter, and then the letters AY. The problem with this is it didn't slice the English word. So instead of moving the first letter to the end, this program, this code actually just copies it to the end. And just print your translated word is, and then the placeholder and Pyglatin. So just to give you a glimpse of what I really did, submit a code, valid word in English, let's say chocolate, and your translated word is chocolate cake. It's not. Oh wait, I think there's a space in here. So just to correct that, again, chocolate here. Okay, so this is where now we have the first instruction really is just to print the phrase Pyglatin, just to introduce the game. So let's click submit. And the next one is we need to ask the user for the input. So this is where we use the raw underscore input. So on line 4, wait, let me reset the code. On line 4, use the raw underscore input, and then the text would be enter a word to ask the user to enter a word. and you have to save the results of that into a variable called original. So we're going to say original equals to raw underscore input, and the text would be enter a word and no space at all, and then click save and submit. And so again, let's just use the word chocolate. That's it. Okay, and then the next is let's reset the code again. Oops. Okay, so we have to ensure that the user actually typed something. So there has to be something in there, not just trying to input a blank. They're just not trying to click and enter upon receiving the prompt, enter a word. So we're going to write an if statement. So let's say if that checks the len original is greater than 0. So if len original is greater than 0, then don't forget the colon, then print the variable original. Else, if we're going to do else, it is not indented, so we're going to move it here, colon, and print empty. There. And then click submit. So enter a word. So let's try to say, we're just going to click enter right away. It says empty. So what about if there's an actual word? Let's say chocolate. And it says chocolate. Okay, that works. Next is now we have to be even more thorough and make sure that they are all strings, or it's a word. So we're going to use the function isAlpha, and it will return false if the string contains non-letter characters. So if they entered an integer or a word with other characters in it aside from the alpha characters, it will return to false. So we're going to reset the code again just to demonstrate. So the instruction is to use and to add a second condition to the if statement. So, and we're going to use the isAlpha. Okay, so the original or the first condition rather, or if statement is if the number of characters in original is greater than 0. And now we're going to add another one, another required condition. So we're going to use and instead of or, and original, the variable original has to be all alpha characters. Is alpha, and don't forget the colon. Then print original else. Now instead of printing empty, I actually preferred to change it and just say please enter a valid word. The reason why is because what if I changed empties, what if they entered something but it just didn't pass the alpha condition because they entered a number or something like that. So instead of saying empty, because well technically it's not empty, I change it to please enter a valid word, no, none, just to be very specific. alphabetical characters are allowed. Period. Submit. Chocolate again. Okay, it prints chocolate, and let's see. Let's try choco 123, and it gives us the that works. Next is for okay, so let's just submit again chocolate. I'm sorry, I just really want to say chocolate. Okay, so part 2. So this is where we slice the word, move the first letter, and add the letters AY at the end. Okay, so first is we have to create a variable named pyg and set it equal to the suffix of AY. So let's just submit. And the next is we're going to simplify things by making the letters in lowercase. Wait, let me reset the code. Right. So the reason why is, like I've discussed in the first part of this video, is that we have to make sure that everything is in lowercase so that when we move, especially when we move the first letter to the end, it won't look funny. It won't. Everything is in the same format. Everything is in lowercase. So inside the if statement, this one, we're going to create a new variable called word. And this one should hold the original the variable original, and we're going to convert that to lower case. So after print original, I'm going to say here we're going to create a new variable called word that says original dot lower. Okay, and we're going to create another variable called first, where we're going to get the first letter of that word. Take note, we're no longer using original here, we're using word, to make sure that we're using the lowercase version already. So submit the code. So enter a word, and let's have it chocolate with a capital C. And oh, because it still says print original. Sorry, my bad. It has to say print word. So we're not going to change original here and here as word, because again, the original, the user input, we assigned the variable original for the actual user input, so we cannot use word here. We're just going to print the word once we already have a value for original. Next is, wait, let's test it again. Chocolate. There you go. Okay, so the next is, now that we have the first letter, we need to add both the letter and the string store the suffix ay to the end. So on the new line, after the first variable, oops, I'm going to reset the code. Oh wait, no need. I'm just going to explain it anyway. So we have to create a new variable called new word, new underscore word, and set it to equal to the concatenation of the word first and pyg. So word, the variable word, wherein everything's in lowercase first, the first letter, and the suffix of the letters ay. And that's it. Also I changed word here to the new word, so when we test it, we can see if the program is working correctly. So instead of word, we're now printing new underscore word. So let's say chocolate. Now it has to be chocolate K. Okay. Now we have now that we have the first letter showing up both at the beginning and near the end. So we have to slice it. We have to make sure that the first word does not contain, that the first letter was moved and not just copied. So we have to create a variable. So for this one, oh wait, let's just go straight to the instructions. So new word will be equal to the slice from the first index all the way to the end of the word. We're going to use one and the len and the new word. When slicing it, and since we're moving the first character or the first letter of the word, that means that this part, the variable word, should start with the second letter or the second character going to the end. That's why we started with 1, because again in Python we start counting the characters we start from 0. So the second character or the second letter is 1, and then to account for the everything to the rest of the word, the rest of the letters of the word, we use the len word and then plus first and then plus pyg. Okay, and submit. Okay, so enter a word chocolate. It will no longer be chocolate K, but rather chocolate K. And actually, I think that's it. Yeah, I didn't change anything after this. I'm just going to say submit. Yep, that's it. So next is the functions. And we're going to do that on the next video.